Hello, everybody. These are the solutions to quiz number one. I very much hope it went well. I hope you're watching because knowing where you went wrong on practice tests, which is really what a quiz is a really fast way for you to learn. Okay, number one, do you know what a function is? A function is a connection, it's a relationship between a set of numbers called the domain and a set of numbers called the range. Now, you don't always have to use numbers, but we're in math, we're using numbers a lot. And the key thing is the function must use everything in the domain and send it to only one range value. That's what makes a function. It's much easier to understand what a function is not. A relationship is not a function when you have at least one domain element getting mapped to two or more range elements, like you have in number two. Number two is not a function. It's a relationship connecting food and my son's mood. It is a relationship, but it's not a function because of serial. Serial is the only problem. Serial is the domain. That's what triggers the reaction. And it actually produced two different moods, happy and sad. So you've got one domain element, serial, producing two different range elements. So it is not a function. 3a is a function. Every domain element is being used, and you never have one domain going to two different range elements. Don't worry that one is not being used in the range. It's only a problem when everything in the domain isn't being used. So, but A is a function. So is B for the same reason. C is not a function because of 3. When X is 3, it goes to 7, but wait, it goes to 11. So which one is it? Does it go to 7 or does it go to 11? So since it goes to two or more different range values, it is not a function. D is a function. Look at 3. 3 is your only real threat. 3 gets mapped to 1. Here's 3 is mentioned again, but it still goes to 1. It doesn't go to a different y value. It goes to the same one, so it's still a function. E is a function. This graph has billions of ordered pairs. Each one is an x and a y, a domain and a range. And every x goes to only one y. Look at the x value 2. It has a y value of -3. It doesn't have any other y value. Look at the x value of 0. It has a y value of -4. It doesn't have any other y values. So this is a function. F is not a function. There are lots of x values that have two or more y values. For example, when x is -5, it looks like the y value is 1.5, but also 5.5. Well, which one is it? It produces two different y values, not a function. G is a function. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You've got 5 ordered pairs. Every ordered pair has one x, and each x goes to only one y. Number 4, 5, 6, and 7 are all talking about function notation. 4, here's the function f, -4x plus 10. You want to know f of 3, which means what is the output when you put in 3? And the output is -2. This is what I would love to see in your exam. F of 3 equals -2, end of story. And here's the work to support it, because -12 plus 10 is -2. 5 is kind of backwards. You want to find x such that the result is -1. Well, f of x is the result. So I'm replacing f of x with -1, and I'm just trying to figure out what is x. I just subtract 9, which makes -1, -10. I got to divide by -2. I discover that x is 5. This is my final answer. F of 5 equals -1. That's the x value that produces -1. 6. Here's yet another function. This one's a parabola, but you want to find what is the result when x is -2. So every time you see an x value, you replace it with -2. Simplify, you get 14. Remember, -2 squared is +4. So 3 times 4 gives you 12. And then -2 times -2 gives you a +4. And finally, number 7, h of x equals 7x plus 8. What is h of 0 plus 3 times h of 4? So this is more work. So I hope you show your work. If you don't show your work, I can't give you credit. H of 0. What is the result when x is 0? Well, the result is 8. What is the result when x is 4? Well, the result is 36. So now I want to take the result when x is 0 plus 3 times the result when x is 4. So that means 8 plus 3 times 36, which is 8 plus 108, which is 116. Independent and dependent. Remember, independent begins the chain reaction. Usually comes first in a sequence of time, but it is the independent. It comes first, and the range element, the dependent, is a consequence of the independent. So the food I eat will influence the smell of my breath. The smell of my breath is a consequence of whatever I just ate. If I ate a bunch of strawberries, my breath is going to smell like strawberries, etc. So it depends on what I eat. The smell of my breath depends on what I eat. And then the amount of my paycheck depends on how much I worked. So the amount that I worked is the independent variable that is influencing my paycheck. Domain and range. Domain, remember, is a set of x values. So you're shifting your head left and right, and you always start with the smallest x value. In this case, it goes as far left to -9. And it includes -9 because you've got a closed circle. So bracket -9. And it goes all the way to the right to, looks like +5, but there's an open circle, so you don't include +5, parentheses. The range is the y value, the set of y values. So you're looking up and down, and you start with the smallest number, which means you're looking down. And how far down does this function go? It goes all the way down here with a y value of -10, but it's not including -10, so parentheses. And it's going all the way up to +3. It does include 3, twice exactly. Once as the y-intercept and once over here, but we don't need to state it twice. It includes 3, including 3, so bracket. And last page. Can you look at a graph and analyze it? Well, here's the function. It's a parabola. We don't know explicitly what the function is, but I can use the graph to answer some questions. For instance, f of 2. So in other words, what is the consequence when x is 2? Well, when x is 2, the result is 6. This is the ordered pair 2, 6, domain, range. 2 is the domain, 6 is the range. What about f of 5? Well, when x is 5, the graph is down here at -3. So the result is -3. F of 5 equals -3. Where on the graph, or I'm sorry, under what conditions, what x value will the graph equal 2? Well, here's when the graph equals 2. Once here and once here. So I've got 2 answers. Once here when x equals 0, and once here when x equals 4. So 2 answers, 0 and 4. What if I said, what x values will result in the graph equaling 8? Well, here the graph doesn't even get up to 8. It's out of its range. You could say undefined, but if you know a little bit more, there are actually imaginary numbers that could make this parabola equal 8, but we don't study imaginary numbers in this class. Last problem, number 11. F of -4.5. Well, when x is -4.5, so here's -4, here's -5, here's -4.5, and the graph is down here, looks like at -3. So that's why we have -3. F of 1, when x is 1, the result is 0. That's important. That's called an x-intercept or a 0. And then f of 0, now this is the y-intercept. When x is 0, what's the result? This is why I put this graph on here. Do you know to look here? Because when x is 0, there's an open circle here, so you shouldn't be looking down there. There's an open circle here, so you shouldn't be looking here. You need to find where is the graph defined, and this ordered pair tells you. This graph is defined when x equals 0 at 2. So the only answer is 2. Very much hope that was helpful. Please keep emailing me with questions. Send me a screenshot, and we will see you soon.